India and Mexico, two countries who love their chilies.
Hi, I'm Bert Mueller from California Burrito. Since 2012, we've opened 80 stores across India. Last year, we finished around 200 crores. I would say that the first 6 years of our company and our restaurants was about kind of adjusting things for India. You read about all these Steve Jobs or whoever, the Beatles, they came to India and they also had this, kind of eye-opening experience. And for me, that's what it was. It was.
Hey, hi, Bert.
Hey,
How are you doing?
very well. How's everything?
All good. All good. Wanted to know from you. You came to India in 2010. What is your motivation and intent behind that decision of moving countries and shifting places altogether?
So when I was studying in college, I felt that I needed to expose myself to more of the world. And I think, college was all about learning, and studying abroad was expanding the mind further. And India was a country that was so different from the US that I thought by spending time here, this would be the ultimate learning experience. And it was also a very fast-growing country at that time. It still is probably the fastest-growing country.
Right.
So I thought for my personal development, for maybe future work, for whatever, this would be a great thing to spend time in India. The head of my study abroad program at my school was in fact an Indian. And he said, please, what are you thinking? You sure you're like this? You're from this very safe background, and then you're going to India. I come from India. Maybe you shouldn't go. But I thought this was the place I needed to go. And then I guess after I visited India, of course, you read about all these Steve Jobs or whoever, the Beatles. They came to India, and they also had this, kind of eye-opening experience. And for me, that's what it was. It was an eye-opening experience. It really it changed my view of the world and how things work. And then it led me to come back here to start my business.
So when you were starting out California Burrito, what were the early days like, the day zero? I would say actually day -1, wherein you did not have a name, you did not have a team, you did not have any of the infrastructure. What was the days before day zero looking like?
Well, gosh, I wrote a business plan which was quite detailed, and looking back was rather accurate in terms of, where do you want to open Bangalore? Where do you want to open probably a mall or a tech park?
Right.
We did a tech park. What are the specific tech parks that are good? Okay, there's a few. Embassy Golf Links was the one we decided to take up.
This was in which year?
The business plan I wrote in 2011.
Okay. So when you were setting up your first outlet, what were your major expenses like, and if you had to just bucket them into a few subheadings, what would they look like?
Sure. So I think the best way to think of this is what we would spend today, just because
right.
Obviously there's been inflation. If we were opening a store like this, a standalone store, 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
The entire store cost, let's say, would probably be 80 lakhs.
Okay.
So 20 lakh of that would be equipment. Mm-hmm. 10 lakh of that would probably be deposit. 25 to 30 lakh, maybe even 35 lakhs would be the interior. And then there'll be lighting, signages, etc. That would be, another 5 lakhs. And then probably 10 lakhs for HVAC, so exhaust, ACs, fresh air. So probably we're winding up at around 75, 80 lakhs.
How long does it take for such a store to break even?
It's hard to say. I think just really depends on the format. If we're doing a standalone store, I could say probably 6 months it might take to where it starts giving cash.
Got it.
In those first 3 months, you're probably spending on marketing. You might be spending 15% of your sale on marketing. You might be spending 20% of your sale on marketing. Once obviously that comes off the P&L, then it'll come faster. If you're doing a mall, it might break even in the second month. So if you have a right space in a mall, it might break even in the second month. If you're in a tech park, it might even break even in the first month. It's again a situation where the investment also would be less in those formats, but the overall return will also be less. So a standalone store might be one where you could make more money over time.
Let's talk a bit about how your marketing was in your early days when you started your first store. What did you do to get people to be aware about you starting something and this is somewhere they need to go, try to create a hype around it. What was your marketing like in your early days?
So basically, when we first started, we opened in a tech park. And in a tech park, you don't have to do any marketing because you're in a captive market. And when we just opened our first store, Krispy Kreme actually opened their first store on Church Street, a huge store where they had all the production. And their head of Asia had come in, and a very nice gentleman, a British guy. And I connected with him and I said, can you give me any advice? So he told me, I brought him to our store at Embassy Golf Links, and he said, wow, this is very busy. He said, replicate exactly this for your first 5 stores. Don't do anything different. Pick the exact same piece of real estate in terms of location, same size, same everything. And so our second store, we did that. And the beauty of doing a tech park was that no marketing, immediately sales pick up, and things work well. And now, after our second store, we said, okay, gosh, things are going well, we'll ignore this guy's advice. So then our third store, we did a standalone store. And that one we had to do marketing for. And I think we were not very good at marketing back then. We took some outdoor, we did some bus stands. It was kind of pre-social media. So it was about flyering, it was about coupons and newspapers. And it took time, but the store did pick up. But then for our fourth and fifth store, we went back to his advice, which was a wise advice, and an advice I would give to young people who have a successful format. If you're able to crack it, just repeat what you did the first time and do it 5 times, and then after you did the 5th, then you go to your,
Nice.
Another one.
What does your average turnover of every store look like?
Last year, we finished around 200 crores. And we had 73 stores at the end of that year. So we'll let the people in the comments section figure out whatever that winds up being.
How do you think the revenue share differs from an Indian-focused restaurant or Indian-focused QSR versus a foreign cuisine coming into India?
An Indian restaurant would play a different role in a consumer's life than a Western fast food, or just a Western or a non-Indian cuisine, let's call it. So if we take an Indian holiday, say a Diwali, we don't do well at all during that time. That is not when consumers are coming and saying, I want burritos for Diwali.
So how does the northern markets differ from the southern markets?
What we've noticed is that the markets are very similar, actually. The people who like our format like certain products from our restaurant. They like similar products from our restaurant. Like a store that's doing very well in NCR would frankly have a very similar product mix to a store that's doing very well in Bangalore. So I think that the differences sometimes maybe it's if you have a restaurant that's good at certain things, it will be similar in different places. Now, whether you can do well in all the places, that's up to the format in a way.
So what does your most frequent customer walking into your store ideally look like?
I don't think that there is an archetype. What I see, if I was thinking about our business, is we have, working lunches where individuals will come and have a meal by themselves. We have couples who come in for generally married or not with children. People who come in for either a date or just having a meal. We have young people who come in and hang out, so people who are, say, less than 20. And then we have families who come in for, I would say, Mexican nights or Mexican meal together.
So you decided to farm your own house avocados as well as tomato plants in Karnataka. Can you talk us through your thought process behind that, and why was that necessary? Why could you not just import it? Or probably why were there no local farmers doing that for you?
I would say that the first 6 years of our company and our restaurants was about kind of adjusting things for India.
Okay.
And there was things that we learned from that. Whether it was we divided the price points, we created a mini irregular. We experimented with flavors. We brought in vegetarian. We brought in some snacks that were, I would say, definitely inspired by India. I think around 2018, I went to Mexico and I realized, whatever that journey was, there was diminishing returns, as there is with anything in life, on pursuing. And I realized that if we really wanted to do this well, we had to have the ingredients people had in Mexico and in the U.S. And the first one is avocado. So if anyone's had one of the in South India, they grow a lot of avocados, I think, from a plant called TKD1 or something from the agriculture department. It's a very different avocado than an imported one. And that was kind of the first place we started, which is if we want to have the best guacamole in India, we can't use these avocados because they're not suited for that. Maybe for a milkshake they're good. So we imported 500 avocado trees from the U.S., and that was a big process. We worked with a local farm here to do that. And after we realized it was possible to do this, then we started thinking, what are other things we can do that would make our food better that no one else can do? So tomatillos was the next thing we worked on in 2020. And I think I realized that the salsa, if you have the salsa from a tomatillo versus from a tomato, it tastes totally different.
So what is vertical integration and how did you apply this concept at California Burrito?
So I think many businesses would think of vertical integration as being able to extract more margin out of the chain.
Right.
So if I'm growing, let's say an avocado, instead of paying someone and giving them margin for it, now I own that piece of the chain. Which was not the reason actually we got into this. So we didn't get into farming to kind of get more margin. We hoped we might, but that wasn't the intention. And the intention is to have a product that other people wouldn't have and have better quality.
On your online side of operations, what's the split between direct B2C orders versus corporates ordering in bulk or any B2B orders?
So I really know that. I could tell you that Swiggy and Zomato are pretty similar in their split.
Okay.
Right now we see ONDC picking up.
Okay.
So I think right now Ola and Paytm are giving considerable offers that we don't finance, but they finance on their platform. So we've seen ONDC picking up quite a bit. We do corporate orders. I couldn't say the percentage. It's not a big percent of our business for sure. And when Swiggy came along, I think in 2015, I remember Sri Harsha from Swiggy. We were one of the first restaurants he approached. And I was personally, I believed in the company, and he was a very smart guy. But I had questions, operationally, whether we wanted to be in this business of delivery, which I was surely wrong about. We did want to be in delivery. And what it turned out to be was that doing it ourselves was just the problem. Doing it with them, and with Zomato, they're good at it. All right, so can I have barbecue chicken, please? So we grill this in the kitchen pretty much every hour. And some fajita vegetables. So these are grilled onions and capsicums. We have a black bean, a pinto bean. I'll take black beans here today.
What's the difference between both the beans?
So they're slightly, I'll just take black beans. They're slightly different flavors, but the beans themselves have a different taste, so it just comes down to a personal preference. Then we have our fresh tomato salsa, pico de gallo, get a little bit of that. And this is a corn salsa, I have some corn salsa. And this is a fire roasted salsa. Made with tomatillos. Unfortunately, we're currently having some crop failure with that product, so we only have one salsa available. Sour cream, some sour cream, some cheese, and I'll have some guac. So this is made with our Hass avocados. I don't know whether these are from our trees or not, but
so what percentage of it comes from your own trees?
It's very less. It's probably 5% comes from our own trees.
And what's that?
This is mango salsa. This is a seasonal product. Okay. I'm good on mango salsa. Actually, why not? We'll have mango salsa today. And we have lettuce. So this is iceberg lettuce from Uti.
Got it. What do you call your favorite bowl? Is there a name for it?
I don't have a name for this one, but I guess maybe people could name it after themselves. I don't know. Maybe we should do that.
Thank you for joining us at California Burrito. If you want to see more such business breakdowns, check out our playlist and comment down below which business you would like us to cover next. See you at the next one.